Dubai is one of the largest centres globally for sukuk listings by value, currently totalling $65.4 billion US. What factors are likely to propel the development of the sukuk market in the coming decade? Bashar Al-Natoor is Global Head of Islamic Finance at Fitch Ratings. He's with us here in the studio this evening. Great to have you back with us, Bashar. Happy New Year. And how would you describe the current status of the UAE and Dubai when it comes to Islamic finance?
I think maybe take a step back. Dubai was the base of the first Islamic bank in the world in 1973, which is Dubai Islamic Bank. And the last decade saw a lot of development in developing the Islamic finance industry, where you had a roadmap designed by the government. You have specific institutions that are looking after the development of Islamic finance, not only Islamic finance and Islamic economy in general, and trying to place Dubai as the Islamic economic hub. Now, if we look at the successes, I would say, as you mentioned in your report, Dubai is actually one of the largest international sukuk listing, i.e. the ones that has US dollar in them, because you have Malaysia where they have local currency. They've achieved also a few milestones, like having, we saw last year the first green sukuk coming from a corporate coming from Dubai in the GCC. We saw a lot of initiatives and agreements between the related government entities and other bodies internationally and regionally to develop Islamic finance. So the dedicated effort is there. Now we saw the on the ground, we saw the sukuk and the listing. When it comes to Islamic banking and you look at that side of things, Islamic finance is around 30% of the UAE in general, and it's around 27% in terms of deposits. So that is significant, but there is still a long way to go. So if you compare that, for example, with Kuwait Islamic finance is around 40%. If you compare it to Saudi Arabia, it is actually around 78%. So there is still a long way to go to achieve a bigger role.
What would your general outlook be then for the sukuk and Islamic finance sector in 2020?
I think if we look at the Islamic banking in UAE and the GCC, the outlook that we have is stable outlook from a rating point of view and from a sector point of view. There is definitely pressures on the asset quality. However, liquidity continues to be strong. We expect the Islamic finance sector to grow around 5% in 2020 compared to 3 to 5% of the conventional sector in the UAE. So it continues to outpace the conventional one. However, sukuk and the issuance does not operate in a cocoon. So there are factors that could support a larger issuance as we can discuss further.
How strategic was it, do you think, for the market? The news last year that Dubai Islamic is in the process of taking over Noor Bank.
In general, we think that the mergers and acquisitions of Islamic banking will continue in 2020. And in an overbanked system like the UAE, mergers could actually create more sophisticated, larger and stronger entities that are able to carry the brand and Islamic banking further. However, everything at the end of the day depends on the execution and how successful is that execution. But in general, we see mergers and acquisition in GCC and the UAE as a positive development for the Islamic banking industry.
Let's jump to something very important, one of the important sectors here in the UAE, which is, of course, real estate. What's your opinion on that? How do you think that's moving at the moment?
I think real estate is under pressure, and it is expected to have its various performance depending on the prime or subprime, secondary or tertiary, which is something I think worth highlighting because it's different than the crisis in 2008 where it was across the sector. Now we see the pressure is varying depending on if you're prime or less prime and where you are. But there are factors that are supporting the real estate sector, which is the Expo 2020. So it could have a positive impact on the retail, it could have positive impact on the hospitality. But as we always looked at the Expo, we look at it before, which is the build-up for the Expo, the actual execution of Expo, and what will happen to the demand and supply after the Expo. So I think it is an interesting junction, specifically that this is the year of the Expo that Dubai has been building up to achieve in the past few years.
All right, we'll leave it there. Bashar Al-Natoor, appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.